Hello, Tim from Fair Play now on the 14th of November 2024. So, an interesting little fact for you. Of course, both the US and the UK have had very significant elections this year. We had ours on July the 4th, which obviously coincides with that very significant date for Americans, July the 4th. But it's only just occurred to me that the US presidential election was on November the 5th, which is a very significant UK date, kind of historically and politically speaking, because it was the anniversary of when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament 400 odd years ago. And if you're from outside the UK, we celebrate that, celebrate the thwarting of that by fireworks and bonfires, and people go out and have a good time down at their local sort of common or sort of park or whatever. So very interesting, don't you think, that those elections were sort of held on very significant dates for the opposite country kind of thing. So just one to ponder. Don't know what you think of that. Could just be a absolute trivia, but who knows. Anyway, got an interesting little video recommendation for you in the comment section, or description box should I say, below, and you can go and check that out. It's a very recent video from Mark Dolan of GB News. You might remember him from a few years ago when he was speaking out against lockdowns and things, and he came out with a talk yesterday which really kind of sums up absolutely everything. He sort of, it's a very, if you just want to see one video that sums up the absolute nonsense in its totality, it's a good one to go and watch, because he talks about everything from the fallacy of lockdowns, muzzles, V's, how that shouldn't have been forced on sort of healthy sort of people, and many other things as well. And he talks about all of this stuff. Probably would have got you, certainly the likes of me, about sort of 10 or 12 strikes 3 or 4 years ago, just from that one video. But he seems to be sort of talking about all of these things. And I think the reason why he was doing it is apparently the new Trump administration is going to be coming out with quite a lot of home truths about, what happened in those years gone by, and even how some of the perpetrators who forced lockdowns and muzzles on us, or at least the Americans, would have or may well be punished, may well even be, having court cases and prison sentences. Whether that will happen, Mark Dolan seems to think it's quite a big possibility in his video. I'm not quite so sure whether these people will ever be held to account, but I certainly hope they are, because it's only by that kind of thing happening, and certainly it's only by this kind of news coming out that we're going to prevent this nonsense ever happening again. And it is good that you've got things like GB News. It doesn't matter what you think of them. I know a lot of people aren't big on GB News in the freedom movement, but as far as I'm concerned, a lot of normal people watch GB News. They're sitting there in their living rooms and GB News is on, and therefore that means that people who perhaps a few years ago thought that mandates and lockdowns were a good thing will now be seeing Mark Dolan and not thinking it's quite such a good thing after all. And if Trump's going to be bringing out a few more home truths going forward, that means more and more people are going to be becoming aware of this sort of thing. And that then means there's less chance of this nonsense ever happening again. And that is my number one priority. I just do not want lockdowns and mandates, or even any possibility of them ever happening again. And I think this is going to help, really. So yeah, just a few thoughts, but it's if you just want to see a video that documents really absolutely all of the nonsense, do check it out in the description box below. And another thing that I've heard Trump might do, whether he does do it or not, I don't know, but he's talking about stopping the big tech platforms such as this one I'm talking to you on now from censoring people, from shadow banning people, giving them strikes when they're just coming out with information that's lawful and not breaking the law in any way, just giving you facts and figures, but still banning you and still censoring you. And wouldn't that be good if that all went out the window and I could actually sit here and talk to you in a straightforward way without my various, sort of code words and nonsense that I come out with, instead of just, shoving my arm up like that, and I could actually say the actual word without having to skate around the subject. And that alone would be a very, very good thing. And boy, oh boy, some of these people he's appointing, they're very anti-woke, aren't they? There's one or two guys in particular who I think are going to give in that whole ideology a good old kicking, and deservedly so. I think this whole woke thing, well, as far as I'm concerned, you can probably guess what I think about wokeism. It's a very nasty, evil little ideology that sort of believes in, two-tier Keir Starmer sums it up. It's a very two-tier thing. It's if you're on one side, you can say absolutely anything you like, even if it qualifies as hate speech or anything like that. But if you're on the other side, you can't even say the slightest thing without them coming down on you like a ton of bricks. And in fact, there was that journalist, wasn't there, from just the other day? I think she was on the from the Telegraph, I think it was, and she had the police after her for basically coming out with something they deemed as hate speech, even though it wasn't. That's the other thing. Stuff that was perfectly acceptable to say just a few years ago isn't now, according to some of these people. And it's just, wokeism is just a very nasty little ideology. And there might be people who are looking at this video and thinking, well, he's going to have the police coming after him, but I'm not going to have my sort of right to free speech impacted. I'm just going to sit here and say how I feel and what I want, as long as it's lawful and as long as it's doesn't interfere with other people's rights. And talking of rights, you might be thinking, or people might be thinking, well, I've got a right not to be offended. I'm sorry, you don't. So that is not a right. I've got a right to free speech, and taking my free speech away is infringing on my rights, but there's no such thing as a right to not be offended. Sorry, but that is just how it is. That is natural law. If you're going to try and impact people's right to free speech and freedom of expression just because it hurts your feelings, well, where are we going to end up? That's ridiculous. We're just going to end up in a world where nobody can really say anything without a lot of fear going on that you're going to, something that you've said is just going to be taken totally out of context and used against you, and you're going to end up with fines or prison sentences just because someone somewhere has taken a little bit of an issue with what you said and had their feelings hurt by something you said, even if it was pretty innocuous. And that is a world I don't want to live in. So I'm going to sort of sit here and I'm going to still blimmin' well say what I need to say, what I want to say, And yeah, I'm not going to be sort of tolerating any of this woke nonsense. And let's hope that what happened in America last week is the beginning of the end of this absolutely horrible, evil ideology that is wokeism. Anyway, that was a little bit of a rant at the end there, wasn't it? But I'm going to get on and got a little bit of work to do today and go and quote a few jobs and that sort of thing. So better run. Talk to you later. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.